everybody, it's Sam Utari here, and welcome to another episode of Sam Talks. Now the thing is this one's a little different because it's in the Guild Wars playlist, and everybody's like, oh my god, why is it here? Obviously due to the title, you know, this is a Guild Wars Shoutout. Now the person that I'm shouting out to, I saw a lot of their characters, so we have Smurfy, a little Smurf, and Alex the Great, I think was one of them that I accidentally saw when this person was on my friends list. So the thing is if you've watched my Guild Wars episodes, you know that every time I see a real person, like, running by, I'm like, oh my god, real people! And the thing is I'm playing on an international server, so people are not really that easy to find, but occasionally I go on the American server, which does have a lot more people. Now you have to remember that back in the day, I've been playing this Guild Wars account, like my main account, for over 63 months. Let's see, so that's over 5 years. But yeah, so I've been playing Guild Wars for a little bit over 5 years on my main account, and the thing is I've never beaten the campaign, because when I first started playing, I knew nothing about Guild Wars, I really sucked at it, I didn't really have the time to invest in it, I was mostly just getting my characters to level 20, and then making a new character to get to level 20, and then making a new character to get to level 20, and then I bought all 3 games and started messing around with all the campaigns, with all the new characters to get them to level 20, and needless to say, I couldn't really, I didn't really have the focus to actually beat the game as a whole. So yes, there's that little issue. But the thing is you had, back in the day, when I first started playing Guild Wars, like, cities were full of people, and the thing is there were 2 types of people. There were the people, or there's 3 types, actually. There were the people that started playing the game that were like, I'ma beat this thing, and that was me. The second type of person was someone who'd already beaten the game, but was just getting the bigger achievements and was unlocking titles, and selling all their shit for lots of gold. And then you had that third type of person, which basically they get on and they basically say that they're going to help out some noobs. And these newbie helpers are actually really, really sly. Usually a lot of them aren't requesting anything in return, but a lot of them are trying to recruit people for their guild. I remember this from way back in the day. Basically, you'd have someone run you through a mission, and then they'd be like, oh, do you have a guild? And it'd be like, well, yeah, I have one that I made myself. And they're like, oh, well, that's no good. If you joined my guild, you'd have people to help you all the time. And they're correct. The thing about having a guild, which I totally missed the memo, the whole reason of having a guild was so that you had people that you could travel with and that you could just quest with and that they could help you, and you could type your guild and be like, hey, who's running to blah blah blah? I need to go here and I'm having trouble, or I'm stuck on this mission. And then someone would be like, hey bro, I got your back. The problem with this is that I basically took my story writing above actual gameplay mechanics. I wanted to make my own guild because I wanted my girlfriend at the time, who was named Gabriella, I wanted her to be part of my guild, I wanted my best friend to be part of my guild, and I was afraid that if I joined another guild, they would just kick me out, and I would never... I'm a title person, so I'm afraid I was never going to be officer or leader, and for some odd reason that really bothered me. I wanted to be in charge. And now I realize why I would have never been in charge, and it's because I, A, suck at game mechanics, B, I'm just not very accomplished in the game. So anyways, long story short, that's what people used to do, is they would bunker out at all the missions where newbies would start out, and as people would progress, as people would come to the area, they'd be like, okay, who needs help? I can beat every monster, I won't run you through it, we'll actually fight, and you can keep all the items, and you're thinking, oh my god, someone's A, fighting for me, and we're gonna win no matter what, B, they're gonna do the bonus for us, because there's always that bonus achievement, and they're like, oh, and I get to keep all the items in gold? Sweet! And they don't really realize that the person's sitting there going, heh heh heh, join my cult, so we can rule this world, kind of thing. Which isn't actually true, because in Guild Wars you cannot play the bad guy. So anyways, this is how this whole thing started, the story-wise. So basically, I am at that point where my main character, who's a Mesmer, is completing Eye of the North. I am 2 points away from Eye of the North Mastery, which is a title, which is really cool. I've almost finished the whole campaign, and I just basically just have a little bit to do here and there, like nothing really serious. I just have some things I still gotta finish, and I've got some loose ends I still have to tie. But basically, when I was doing the thing for the Dragon's Gullet, I decided that I was going to look on the Guild Wars wiki to see if there was anything on there, like if there was a city that I needed to know about, so that I knew that there was a city. And plus I wanted to learn of some back history so that I could kind of just inform you about what was going on. Yeah. And so basically I found out about a blade that you can't really sell, and it's not rare, and you can't really do anything with it. It's actually really weak, but you know, you take it, you dye it, you know, you have it, it's there, you know. And since it can't be sold because it's not technically worth anything, which is really weird for blades, especially once they've been upgraded, it kind of makes it a unique kind of item, even though it looks like a forked sword or anything. It's called the Shocking Plasma Blade, and you get it for 3 behemoth scar jaws, which you can get in the Dragon's Gullet. So basically, while I was doing that, I was like, or actually when I was looking up the Dragon's Gullet, I learned about this, and I was like, oh my god, that's what I'm gonna do for the bonus episode. I'm gonna go ahead and get these jaws and get that blade, and this is gonna be great. Then I realized, oh my god, why did I never look up stuff on the wiki before? And basically what happened after that is I started looking up different things on the wiki, and since I was playing Eye of the North, since I had gotten a whole bunch of miniatures for my birthday, my Guild Wars birthday, recently, I had been dedicating them in the Hall of Monuments, which earns you basically status, and so I was doing that, and I realized I didn't have any armors or weapons on display. And the thing is the reason why is because it's really particular about what type of armor you can actually display there. Obviously, you can only get like the highest quality armor that can be displayed there. Funny thing is that my Mesmer actually has one piece of very, very, very fancy armor. It's just the rest of her does not have very, very fancy armor. And so I was kind of wondering, I was just like, okay, why is it that, you know, I only have the one piece of fancy armor? Why can't I just display that one piece? What kind of armor can I display there? And it turns out that most armor you can only display as a full set. Obviously, I don't have a fancy full set because it was way too expensive, and I bought the cheaper stuff after I bought the first piece of really expensive stuff. So I started looking up the armors, and I found Asura armor. And Asurans, as you know, are those little mouse-like people. Maybe you don't know. If you don't play Guild Wars 2, you don't know. And if you haven't seen me play Eye of the North, which you haven't, because I haven't shown you, you don't know. But anyways, they're these little people with big long ears and gray face, and they're just gray all over, and they're really ugly. They look like, I don't know, weird mice people. So Asura are intelligent. They build golems. Everything's mechanical in their world, kind of thing. Everything's based in science. And they make this really kick-ass armor, and it's called the Prestige. I guess you call it a Prestige armor set, but it's called the Asura armor. And the reason it's called Prestige is because, honestly, my armor is maxed out. Like, I have the highest armor I can possibly get, but it's not Prestige, meaning I didn't pay a lot of money for it. And the detail on the armor is actually really, really low, except for the chest piece, which you'll notice is the actual Prestige piece because it's all shiny and the textures are nice. Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between a Prestige and then a normal, which is just colors just slapped onto a mold. So I saw the Asura armor and I'm like, that would be kick-ass to have. Like, what all do I need for it? I actually wrote it down. I needed 40 bolts of silk, 400 bolts of cloth, and 50 platinum. Well, the thing is I had the 40 bolts of silk, I had the 400 cloth, I just didn't have the 50 platinum, and I figured I'd get that no problem. And I need an Asura rank, which you get by earning reputation points. I needed that at rank 5, not too annoying, and I was only at rank 3, which is called not too clumsy. So basically I spent all night in the Asura lands, I was running, and I found the tree where the Sylvari first sprung up, which was really fucking cool, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm seeing Guild Wars 2 before it happened. And I got to talk with Ventari, the centaur who started the Sylvari race. I I got my ass kicked a lot of times because the Asura stuff is just really fucking hard. I was playing a master difficulty level quest, which I started out with like 60 pumpkin cookies, which raised my morale, and I ended with only like 24. It was a really fucking hard quest. The whole time I'm sitting there pressing buttons, and I had sweat pouring down my face. Like, it was that intense, you guys. And, basically after I finished that, I'd been playing for over 4 hours, and I was like, okay, I've only gained 1,000 reputation points, and I've gotten no gold whatsoever. Like, this is not worth it at the moment. I'm tired. Whatever. Yeah, 4 hours worth of playing. I've only earned about 1,000 fucking points, and I have to get over 20,000 to get to the next rank, which is ridiculous. So it looks like I'm going to be running some dungeons. And I got I had hundreds of kills, which is ridiculous. So anyways, as a last resort before I logged off, I decided I was going to get on my newbie level warrior named Ace Thatcher. And I decided that I was going to take him to Ascalon to sell the extra miniatures that I have, the ones that I have extras of, because you can sell them for a decent price if they're undedicated. You know, people are always trying to dedicate stuff to the Hall of Monuments to get status. You know, they're trying to find things that they don't already have. I mean, nowadays, since not a lot of people play Guild Wars, those that do play it, you know, tend to play it for either collecting items, getting titles, you know, kind of finishing up loose ends. Like I said, finishing up loose ends, so doing quests that they haven't done yet, just chatting, but mostly just trading of weird, unique items or things that they don't really have yet. And miniatures are one of those things. No one wants to buy a miniature if it's already dedicated, because once a miniature has been dedicated to the Hall of Monuments on one character, it can't be dedicated on any other character, so it's pretty much useless. But I had 3 that were undedicated that I had extras of, and I'm like, awesome. So, all of a sudden I'm running around in Ascalon on the active American server, and there's like maybe 6 people. And I'm sitting there saying, hey, I'm selling these miniatures, I'm selling them for like 500 gold each, or for the best offer. And I'm running around, and I keep saying, hey, I need to sell these. I've got a Shard Wolf, a Mursat, a Hekite Warrior, I need to sell them, come on, who's buying? You know, and all of a sudden this person named, you know, Smurfy, Eve Smurfy, freaking logs in and says, hello everybody, and I'm like, hi, and someone named Cake Lord was like I said, you can name a character anything. Cake Lord was like, hey, and Eve Smurfy's like, what are you guys up to? And we're both like, nothing, and I was like, oh, I'm trying to sell my, we're like, what are you up to? And this person, who at the time I didn't know it was a boy, so, because it was a girl character, and I was on a guy character, so I couldn't judge. I was just like, they're like, oh, nothing, servicing noobs, and Cake Lord's like, I'm a noob, even though he's totally decked out in, like, costumes and shit, and it's like, ah, yeah, you're not a noob. You've been around for enough events. So anyways, I was like, I'm just trying to sell some miniatures to get some gold, because I need it for Asura armor. And they're like, Asura armor? And I'm like, yeah, the prestige stuff in Eye of the North. And they're like, oh, right. How much do you need? And the funny thing is I was over 25k short, so 25 platinum short of my goal. And I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, I'm only selling the miniatures for like 1,500 because I was like, I still need 25k. And they're like, oh, for that armor? And I was like, yeah, I've already got the other 25. Because they're probably thinking, wow, that's probably cheap. You know, that's all you need? Well, they must have lowered the prices, because it's actually 50k in total. And I was like, yeah, I've already got the first, 25, I just need the rest. And they're like, oh, I see. So they started trading with me, and next thing I know, boom, they're sending me 25k. And I give them all 3 miniatures. I'm like, here you go. Then they want to trade again. And I'm like, okay, so I'm trading with them, and they give me back my miniatures, plus a miniature I didn't already have, which is rare. It's actually more than rare. It's actually considered, well, blue is uncommon, purple is rare, yellow is super rare, and green is, like, really, really, really special. So yeah, so all of a sudden they send me back one that's, rare, and I'm like, okay, you don't want my miniatures? And you don't want your Mr. Freezy? And they're like, nah. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, hey, send me a picture of what weapons you have. So all of a sudden I start trading with him, and if you notice in one of the pictures, there's a dude holding a candy cane spear, and that's the spear I actually traded with Smurfy, because I was like, I've got some candy cane weapons in my inventory, and I've got some blah, and the candy cane weapons, or the candy cane weapons are from Christmas, like a long time ago. I think you could still get them during Christmas, but yeah. And so I was like, oh, and I have the staff and the bow, and I had the spear. And granted, I shouldn't have given it away, because it is, not hard to get, but it is just something that's unique. But at the same time, I had the other two weapons, so I wasn't too worried about it, and I figured, come Christmas, I'll just get it back. And even if I don't, there's no real loss. I know I had it, so whatever. And they're like, oh my god, you have the spear and the shield? And I was like, all I got is the spear. And they're like, okay, I'll trade for it. Next thing I know, they're like, okay, well, I don't have much warrior stuff. And I was like, well, I have a mesmer as my main. And they're like, well, I don't have shit for a mesmer. Which doesn't surprise me, because no one does. Mesmers are hard to play, and no one really plays them very much. And I was like, okay, well, my secondary is a necromancer, and my other secondary is like a ranger. So next thing I know, they're sending me all these hammers and axes and these scepters for the freaking necromancer, and I'm like, oh, well, if I can just choose one, I'll choose the scepter. And they're like, no, just take all of them. So then I take all of them, and then they end up sending me more. They're like, oh, you like swords? Here. So they send me some more swords. They send me an awesome shield. I ended up getting this really awesome shield I'd never seen before. And then they send me a black dye, which black and white dyes are the most expensive dyes in the game. And they're like, you can only have this black dye if you use it on the shield. Which the shield they gave me is totally kick-ass. If ever you see Ace Thatcher, I'll show you this shield, because it's the only one I have equipped. And so I dyed the shield, and I'm like, awesome, thanks. And I thought that was the end. Like, this person had already given me 25k, had given me a rare miniature, had given me all these weapons that I didn't necessarily need. And then all of a sudden this person just keeps dishing out the shit. Like, honestly, like, next they're showing me their skills, and they're like, okay, if you're a sword build, this is the skills you should have. Just put all your shit in strength and swordsmanship. You don't need tactics. You don't need anything. And they're like, you should have these skills. And so I saved the template, and I'm like, well, I don't have any of these skills available to me. So then they give me the points to go to the special island to buy these skills, to have them for my character. Then they sit there and watch me put it together on my character, and then on top of that, they're like, oh, okay. So, good, now you're good to go. So at this point, I'm sitting there looking at this person like, oh my god, you are a god. Why are you helping me for free? Like, so much, especially when I'm on a man character, because most time people avoid male characters and they're like, and, like, it would have worked, I can only imagine what would have happened if I was on my female character, like, help me. And the thing is, I wasn't asking for help. I was just asking to sell my 3 miniatures, because I was going to earn the 25k myself. But fuck that, now that I have it, I don't need that shit no more. But basically this person, I was just like, I started carrying on a conversation, because I didn't want to be rude, like, hey, thanks for your shit, I'm just going to go. Like, I'm not like that. And so I was like, dude, you're awesome, thank you so much. And I was like, tell me about yourself, blah. So we start talking, and I know that this guy is a boy, he's 21 years old, lives in the States, obviously, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm actually a girl, I'm 23, and I used to live in the States, but I've been living in Germany for 2 years, blah, blah, blah. I didn't tell him about my YouTube channel, because no one really cares, and I don't want him watching my lame playthrough, like, what are you doing, And it turns out this guy, like, he's been playing Guild Wars for 8 years. I've been playing Guild Wars for 5, so there's a difference of 3 years. He told me how he got all his awesome items. He was giving me a whole bunch of tips and telling me a whole bunch of shit about Guild Wars I didn't even know. And I'm like, damn. Most of the things he got from PvP. By getting Balthazar points and buying shit, which doesn't surprise me, But it's just one of those things where it's like, damn, I don't know, I just can't imagine, like, spending all that time and getting all this stuff. Like, he had to buy it all. I guess he was selling Z-keys, which go for like 5 to 7k each, and, like, he got those from PvP, and that's how he was able to buy all the shit he wanted, and he has costume after costume, just hordes, like, of weapons, and, like, I can't even begin to explain to you what this guy's Zunlai chest must look like. It's just crazy. So yeah, anyways, we got to the point where we were talking about the game, and he's like, you have all 3 games, right? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, so you must have beaten them, right? And he's like, well, yeah, of course, I beat every campaign. And I'm like, really? He goes, why? Haven't you? Crickets. You know, I was like, no. No, I have not. And I felt bad, but I was like, no, I haven't. And he's like, why? And I was like, I think I got stuck somewhere. Because I do remember that I did. I actually, like, beat everything that I had to beat in, like, Maguma Jungle or whatever. And then I literally got to this point where I walked out and I was like, well, time to go to the next mission. And as I walked out, I got attacked. And I just died. Like, I had barely stepped outside of the starting area. You know, because usually when you exit a town into an area or field, there are enemies in the distance, and you can easily just look and see them, but your bubble's not close enough to engage with them, so it's not like you're coming out of the portal and they're like, ah, attack and maul your face! Like, it just doesn't happen like this. But when you get farther in Guild Wars, it actually happens like this, and I actually watched it a few times. So anyways, I told this guy, I think I'm stuck, and he goes, well, tell me what mission you're stuck on, we'll beat it. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I thought I was stuck on a mission. So I'm sitting there looking through my missions, and I'm like, which one don't I have completed? Then I realized I had them all completed in the jungle, because I thought I was on a jungle mission. And I remembered that I had beaten the mission I never thought I'd beat. And I was like, shit. He goes, you're not stuck at Gad's encampment, are you? I was like, no. I was like, that's a sewer thing for Eye of the North. He goes, okay, so you're good enough to play Eye of the North, but you can't beat, you know. Don't ask me how I can beat, you know, basically beat the expansion, but I cannot beat fucking the campaign. The first campaign at that, okay? Just don't ask me. I know it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just, I kick ass at Eye of the North, okay? So I told him, I was like, I can't find anything in the jungle I'm stuck on except for some stupid, you know, quests, and I know I can do them. He was like, oh, okay. So where are you stuck then? I was like, I don't know. I only have one place unlocked in the desert, so I think I just need to find the next mission place. He went, oh, okay. So next thing I know, he's teleporting to where I am, and I was like, or he was talking about the fire islands, where the volcanoes are. He goes, have you been there? I was like, no. He was like, oh. And I was like, do we need to go there? Do I need to go back to the jungle? He was like, nah. I was like, okay, is there something I missed in the jungle? He's like, nah. And I'm like, okay, well, so we don't have to go to the jungle at all? He was like, nah. And I'm like, okay, well then what are we gonna do? And he goes, you just stay here. And he's like, I'll show you. And I don't know what I thought. Okay, so basically, let me talk to you about the concept of running a character. Running a character in Guild Wars means you have one person who's an extremely high level with extremely awesome armor, and they have 2 types of abilities. They have a running ability, and they have a healing ability. And they equip these 2 things, so that literally they can just plow through enemies and heal themselves while they're running, which, you know, gets them away from the enemy faster. So they're literally just running through these hordes of monsters, which will chase them for a certain distance and then will turn back, and then they're healing themselves as they go, so that, you know, like, when they run into the next horde of monsters, which is never too far away, they don't die. And then they run until they reach the destination, and the character that they're running literally just stands at the entrance, because when you're in a party, when one person reaches the next town and goes into a portal, the whole party goes into the portal with them. So you can literally have one character stand at the beginning, and they don't have to do anything. Just the person running has to make it to the end, and once the character running makes it to the end, boom, everybody's in that town or in that next section, and it's then unlocked on your map, even though you literally just stood there and did nothing. So basically what happened was I didn't really get the concept that he was running me. He didn't say he was running me. He just said, don't worry about it, let's just go this way. So we get into the field, and I'm running after him, or my screen finally loads, and I realize he's taken off without me. And I'm like, damn, dude, I was like, let my shit load. And so I'm running, I'm trying to fight, and his party's already dying, and he's, like, way ahead of everybody else. And I end up getting slaughtered. And then I'm like, what the hell? And I'm kind of like, dude, are you even gonna fight? And then I thought about it, And I'm like, oh my god, he's running me. I was like, he's not, like, helping me get to the next places, like, the normal way, which is, hey, let's fight through these hordes together. He's running me, and I giggled because when you run someone, you, like, run people to Lion's Arch that don't want to do the Shiver Peaks missions. Like, you run people to Maguma Jungle, or you run people to the Temple of Ancients, or whatever. Like, you run people that are still pretty new to the game, and you run them to big areas so that they don't have to do it themselves. And I was sitting there thinking about it, and the only time I ever had anybody, sorry I have a hair in my mouth, the only time I ever ran anybody was when I ran my Necromancer. And, yeah, I ran my Necromancer. I don't even think that's my hair. It's gross. It's my girlfriend's hair. That's even more gross. So the only time that I ran was when I ran my Necromancer Emelisa to Lion's Arch, because I really needed her at Lion's Arch, and there was this dervish that was doing it for free. And dervishes are already really fast, and they have a lot of weird healing spells and bulk up things, so he just ran and ran and ran and ran. But yeah, when you die, since I was slaughtered in the desert, because I didn't know that a little Smurf was running me, you can click on the person who's still alive, and you can follow them, and when I died, he wrote me, he goes, oh, now you can watch me run! And I was like, I didn't know you were running me. He went, oh, sorry, I should have told you. I was like, yeah, I probably should have, because I just got my ass kicked, you know, but that's okay, I'll just watch. And he ended up running me to, like, all the major missions in the desert, you know, and he didn't run me through the missions, obviously, and he didn't give me time to collect the quests, which means I'm still gonna have to go to these places, I'm still gonna have to do the quests myself, I'm still gonna have to do the missions myself, and I asked him, I was like, how can I repay you, because look at all the shit you've done for me. Like, all he said was, I just want you to beat the game. That's what you can do, as, you know, as to return the favor, I just want you to beat the game. So, I mean, it's really fucking cool that there's people like this that are still on Guild Wars, because like I said, back in the day, Guild Wars was full of people who were wanting to help, and even some people that would help, but they would help for a certain price, fine. You know, to say you paid someone to help you, that's a little bit different, because you still had to go out and earn that gold, you know, than just doing it for free. You know, but it was really cool that you can still find people that still want to help you out. I know that I go to missions, or I'll go to places, and I'll be like, hey, does anybody want to help? And people they don't even reply, because they're all, like, inactive, or they're on a whisper with someone else, and they just don't want to pay attention. So to have someone that literally just came in and was like, oh, hey, what are you doing? Are you having fun? Like, kind of thing, you know? Someone that literally I just met, saying that they were going to help out noobs, you know, and then they're like, oh, hey, you're a more experienced player, where are you stuck at? You know, and they helped me anyways. You know, that is really cool. I kind of laughed, because he's like, oh, I'm servicing noobs, and, like, then I thought about it later, and I was like, he ended up helping me and giving me a lot of shit, and I was like, he must become a noob, you know, and I wasn't really insulted by it, I was actually more tickled by it. The thing is, like, I'm a pretty decent Guild Wars player. But the thing is I just don't have the focus to finish one thing. If I fail at one thing, I rage quit for a while. I basically go, nope, I'm just gonna go do something else. And, like, I'll just rage quit and I won't pick up the game, and even if I do pick up the game, it's either from my YouTube, which is on a separate account altogether, it's not on my main account, or it's, on a different character. And that's really my problem, is that for my YouTube, I don't play on my main account. I play on my alternate account, which is why I'm thinking that in order to show you the different classes and stuff, I think that after Nolani Academy and we head into the Shiver Peaks, I'm tempted to switch characters and kind of just show you what happens from there. But that wouldn't be very fair if I did that, you know, to switch characters and whatnot. But I do know that instead of focusing solely on my YouTube, for that account, I really do need to start picking up with stuff a little more. With that being said, I had a lot of fun talking to this guy. He was actually really funny. And we ended up exchanging Skypes. So he said if I had any questions or if I needed any help, I could ask him, which is really awesome. So yeah. So basically, it's just a matter of if I see this guy online, I'll say hey, we'll just chat a little bit, and hopefully, if ever I need his help on an alternative account like Arcus Sphere or whatnot, I think I want to tell him about my YouTube and how I do it, and if Arcus needs help or if I'm stuck somewhere, maybe he can team up and just help us plow through shit. So here's to the man that ran with a candy cane spear that only did 10 damage, who got trapped by a horde of bugs in a teleporter, and who played the worst game of tag with desert griffins I have ever seen, a little Smurf. And thank you again for all your help. You were fucking awesome, and I probably would have found these places eventually, but I would have died so many times, and you gave me so much nice stuff. And I appreciate it. Too bad you didn't have any mesmer stuff. But yeah. But yeah, while he was running, I was sitting there at the entranceway, and I'm like, I'm safe because I'm at the entrance, and all of a sudden a fucking Hydra, an elite Hydra, comes up and basically just kicks my ass. And he was like, how did you die? And I was like, a Hydra! I was like, it just came walking by the entrance, like, yo, what's up? I was like, it kicked my ass! You know, but anyways, enough of that. Like, I know it's not interesting to you. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a little Smurf and say thank you once again for being an awesome Guild Wars player. Definitely, if any of you ever play Guild Wars, I mean, reach out, join a guild that still has some active members, and try and, you know, find someone to party with. That's what Guild Wars is all about. You can play with NPCs, but NPCs are really, really hard to master. Like, the game was not meant to be beaten with henchmen. And heroes and mercenaries help out a lot, but honestly, in the end, you're better off just finding someone else to help you, or someone else to play with, because the quests are going to get really difficult, everything's going to get really difficult, and, you know, it's just easier to have someone there. Anyways, that's all I got for now. Sorry for all the rambling, but that's probably the longest shout-out ever, and the longest Guild Wars tale I've ever told, and I don't even have any footage to back it up. Actually, I do. You're seeing Ace Thatcher run around right now. So anyways, that's basically all I have for now. Anyways, this is Sam Mutari out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Alright. Ciao, you guys.